Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name's Max. I'm the CEO of Smith & Sons Remodeling Experts Canada. You are visiting us in the Business for Builders podcast, and welcome to you if you're in YouTube land. Righto, it's late in the afternoon and there's stuff going on, but we really felt that we wanted to just share with you and try and bring value as we normally do. So g'day to you, no matter where you are. Give us a shout out. Tell me what country you're listening to this from or watching this from. I'd really love to know that. If you hear some banging in the background as well, we got a Domino's pizza right next to us, and they've just brought a load of produce in and they're smashing the wall as they load the shelves. So that's fun times. But anyway, we'll power on. Hey, look, we're always talking to mostly, I assume that most of our audience is general contractors or builders. But if you're a contractor, plumber, sparky, chippy, or carpenter, welcome. And hopefully you get something out of this episode. I'm sure you will. Now, look, I want to, there's a saying that I use fairly often. People ask me, hey, Max, how you doing? And I say to them, I'm always in the shit. It's only the depth that varies. Did you catch that? And it's a funny comment, but some people say there's never a truer word spoken in jest. And, I guess I like to laugh at the situation sometimes because, the situation in business, no matter what you're doing, whether you're contracting or you're a general contractor working for, clients or whatever, there's days where you feel like you're under the pump. And definitely, this last week or so, and of course we're leading into Christmas, so things are, starting to wind down. But of course, deadlines are looming. People always want their kitchen finished before Christmas. They want their bathrooms completed, all that sort of stuff. So we're under the pump. We're sort of really trying to push projects out. So look, I think I want to talk today quickly about dealing with pressures from humans. It's funny. I talk a lot about how businesses are run by good systems and good humans run those systems. And yet, some of I just said to one of our guys today who was in for a little bit of refreshing or a training refresher on a bit of our software, I said, the beautiful part about business is that we deal with humans and people. And I said, the most challenging thing that we deal with in business is people all at the same time. Did you get that? So I think when the going is good, it's great. When the going is not so good, it's ridiculously challenging. And I feel it, especially towards the end of this year in my own business, in, driving a franchise company like Smith & Sons, you do start to feel the pressure and the demand that's on you as the leader. And so if I'm talking to you and you're working for somebody, this information may not resonate with you, but I want to tell you that if you are working for somebody, this is what he or she is going through on a fairly regular basis. There's no question I'm the first to this office and I'm the last to leave this office. Occasionally I'll be here on a weekend, and essentially I will go to bed thinking about this business and waking up thinking about this business, and sometimes have nightmares about this business. But nonetheless, the thing is too, I think the separator between me and maybe somebody else is I guess my love for doing the business. I don't think I would do anything else. I've been around this long enough to know deep down inside that I do love the fact that there's people in the business that we love to help, and there's people in the business that need our help and that we look to serve long term and help bring about some success. I guess a story that something that happened to me recently was that for those that don't know, I play a bit of lead guitar. And I had a couple of offers for a couple of local bands. One in particular was a cover band. And it was funny because, from the time that I got to this town some 5 or 6 years ago, the only asset that I bought, and I essentially bought my wife and 6 kids in 19 suitcases. I didn't bring them in the suitcases, but they were in addition, to the kids and the wife. Anyway, the only thing that I bought of any earthly possession was an American-made Fender Stratocaster, and it was a 1991 or 93 model. So for all of those guitarists out there, rock and roll. Those that aren't, you're just going to have to take my word for it. But essentially, I really love to play music, and we'd play everything from Billy Idol to AC/DC and all kinds of 70s, 80s, and 90s rock. Basket Case was another fun one to do. But what happened was, it was interesting. I had finally got myself into a position where I actually had the opportunity to play exactly what I wanted. I was the only guitarist, and I was playing all of the intros and all of the rhythm guitar and all of the lead guitar, all the solos and everything. And it was funny, literally 2 Sundays ago, we were due to rehearse on a Sunday night at about 6:30. And about 3:00 in the afternoon, I had to ring the guy that gave me the invitation to play. And I said, hey, bud, I'm not feeling it, And, I think, and this is where I think self-awareness comes in, because there is so much demand on me as a business owner and operator, and having, 8 or 9 franchises in the group, they're all relying on this head office to really give them the direction, feed them with the right amount of leads, ensure the brand is looked after, always developing, our systems and our approaches, making sure our marketing is on point, handling folks within the business here. And honest to God, I literally felt like the thing that I thought was going to give me some solace, I had no creative space to give it. And I literally had to ring him and just say, look, and I ended up going to rehearsal that night, and talk about going through the motions. It reminds me like if I got a job at Home Depot, like stab me in the eye with a fork. And nothing against you. Don't go killing me if you work at Home Depot. I love the people that I deal with down there. That's fine. But at the end of the day, for me, and if you want to work at Home Depot, there's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately for me, and I'm only talking about me, I'm talking about you, don't throw rocks at me. But I just couldn't do that. I would not find that invigorating or exciting or inspiring enough. And so I've got to do something. And so therein lies, I think, where I have to understand in myself, and this is where you guys and girls have got to understand in yourself what your capacity is and what your limitations are. And you've always got to get to know yourself. You've heard the term burnout. And I'm so glad that we're coming up to Christmas time, because I just need to probably, sit back and eat a bunch of Doritos and watch some Netflix and, more than what I already currently do, and just to sort of relax. I guess I understand myself, and that's the thing. The worst thing that you can do is compare you with me, or you with somebody else in the business sector that you admire or you're inspired by, and think you've got to do it the same way as them. I would tell you that is a bunch of horseshit. You need to look yourself in the mirror and go, where's my happiness lie? And so for me, even though, I'm reasonably good at, flinging the guitar around, I just knew that I didn't want to be commercially involved in a cover band. I want to go into my own jam space and jam when I wanted to. And so, I think I would flip it around. And that's because even though I've got a love for, playing guitar, I also got a love for this business that definitely supersedes my love for the guitar, because that was always, at 16 years of age, it's like, okay, go and do a carpentry apprenticeship, or go and hit the road and try and, make your money in the music scene, which is super, super difficult. And so, it was great that, I got an apprenticeship and all that sort of stuff. But I think this is where self-awareness kicks in, and you've got to be careful that, I want you to think about, do you feel that way about your business? Do you feel like, and you got to look at your reasons why you're doing it. I had all these people around me saying, dude, it's what you've wanted to do. Think about, playing at parties, and think about, having the crowd go crazy, and all of that still does excite me. But I know that the limitation on me at the moment was such that, unfortunately I had to make a decision, because sooner or later I would probably end up doing a bunch of stuff really badly. And I know that I need to recharge my batteries on a fairly regular basis, and I need some time out. And so for me to, work for 12 hours a day and then have to go home and rehearse and know that I had to be on point, because now I'm part of a commercial business as it relates to selling, entertainment services. It's like, dude, I just didn't want another obligation. And then to have me feel obligated to play my guitar didn't feel right. So that's where, I come back self-awareness. And so if you're in the business and, you're feeling like it is not even a labor of love, it's just, if I was to able to look in your eyes and go, do you really hate this shit? And you go, yes, Max, I absolutely hate this shit. Then your shit's broken. You've really got to, there's something going on inside of you that you've really got to pay attention to, because I'm telling you, it's going to poison the rest of your life if you are not careful. And so, I think taking a step back, and this is not saying that in 2 years I won't get back into the music scene and, want to be a part of a cover band that does pub gigs and weddings and all that sort of stuff. It's just not now. And so, I think you need to sort of ask yourself the question, be honest with yourself. And most of all, I could say to you, listen to what, the spouse or spouse or your partner or whatever's saying to you. But I think ultimately you've got to be honest with yourself and listen to your gut, yelling at you, because I'm pretty sure it will be. You know that either you're in a really happy space or you're busting your ass trying to do things for other people. Now, I'm telling you right now too, this is for a general contractor. If you're keeping your business open because you've got an obligation to employees, but you hate yourself and you hate your business, fire them nicely as you can. Let them go, because your happiness is the priority. You need to do what is best for number one. And I tell all of our guys and gals in this office that you have to look after number one. See, I'm going to be able to tell when there's a switch that's flicked and all of a sudden their output, their ambience, their personality is not the same. And I can tell when something's happened. And so you need to be able to look yourself in the mirror too and realize and recognize when something's happened. Like for me, I had that realization. I was sitting there on Sunday afternoon going, you know what? My heart's just not in it anymore. I just don't want to do it. I haven't got the wherewithal. I haven't got the vision. I haven't got the strength. The dream is not what I thought it was. The experience of running a business the way I expected it to be run is not the way it is. Look, go and find someone that you can be a second in command to. There is plenty of guys and girls that are looking for someone that's reliable, that's skilled, that's got a great, work ethic, that's got a supremely good attitude, because we want those people on our team. There is a place for you. So, sometimes our ego takes a hit because we're like, well, I've told everyone I'm going to build a big company. Well, okay, so if you can't, then you've just figured yourself out. You're going to be actually a lot happier now that you've figured out that actually I haven't really got the wherewithal emotionally, mentally, financially, or otherwise to actually see the thing through to the end. I know to me that, when I first come to this country and I pitched this idea, and it was just a chat around a lounge room to a couple of my wife's family members who had been in construction, and they told me that, franchising wasn't going to work in the construction sector in Canada. And of course, I'd seen what happened in Australia and New Zealand, and I just thought to myself, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's all cute to be able to sort of, have that sort of resolve back then, but to see it through and sort of now I'm sitting here 5 years down the track, I think it's harder now than what it was when I started, but I've grown to be the person that is able to be able to handle a business in today's day and age. We've had to evolve, we've had to take risks, we've had to fail, we've had to get up again. We've had to retry. We've let people down. We've made a lot of people happy at the same time. We've had to be patient. Like all of these kind of things is really part of your understanding of yourself and how you interact with the business ecosystem. And it is definitely, if you get it right, and I'm not saying if you become successful. Success to you might be working second in command for someone on 60 or 70 grand a year going, I absolutely love their business, but there's no way I want to do his or her job. Okay? That's what we call a revelation. When you have that epiphany where you go, you know what? I actually love coming to work, and I love being the second in command, and I love leading my department, or I love doing, look, you can't buy that shit. And it's super important that you understand that being in the shit is pretty normal, but it is on some days the shit is very shallow, but in some days the shit is like here. And if you're watching this podcast right now, I'm holding my pen right under my bottom lip going, oh my God, I've just about got shit in my mouth. And I'm telling you, it's just one of those moments where you've just got to understand it's not, what you're going through, it's where you're going to. Tough times don't last, tough people do. My name's Max. Thanks for hanging with me. I trust you've got some value out of that, and don't know what time of day you're listening to this. I would love to know where you're listening to this from. Leave me a comment. I'm always about having some fun. So let's get with the program and have some fun with what you're doing. Figure out who you are and what makes you happy. And, at the end of the day, we want you to go and build a kick-ass business, but we certainly want to, more importantly, figure out who you are. So one way or the other, go and get it sorted, and we wish you all the best. See you on the next episode.